So today I'm gonna show you how to make salmorejo. Salmorejo is a typical dish from Cordoba, my hometown, and it's a really easy recipe. You only need tomatoes, bread, olive oil, garlic, and some salt. And you just blend it all together in whatever blender you have. I have an old Thermomix, which I love. But you can really use just like a smoothie maker or whatever. But the trick is that it has to be very, very smooth. And you just eat it cold. And we usually in Spain top it with some like hard-boiled egg or some jamon, some cured ham. Or you can even put like chopped cucumbers. Just like, just think of it as a cold kind of creamy soup for the summer. It's delicious. So today I'm going to show you how to make it. Alright, so I'm using 1 kilo of tomatoes. I'm just chopping them into quarters. Normally I use a kilo because I mean it's what fits in my Thermomix, and also it's enough for a few days. I usually make one big batch for a few days and it stays good for a long time. So trust me, there's no such thing as too much salmorejo in the fridge. So just do 1 kilo of tomatoes. So here it is. Then I'm adding some sea salt because you need a lot of salt for tomatoes. Then I'm just gonna add some garlic. Here I have fresh garlic. Normally I just use normal garlic, but I saw this in the supermarket. You get this sometimes in Germany, this like fresh garlic, and it tastes a little bit different. It has like a bit of like a fresher note, but it's just garlic. I mean, just use any garlic. But if you find these fresh ones, it's really nice to use them. And then I'm just gonna put this in my Thermomix. I mean, if you have any other blender like a Vitamix or any high-speed blender, just use that and blend it in until it's very, very smooth. The reason because later I will be adding some bread. The reason I do this separately is because you want to have the tomato very, very smooth, and then you want to add the bread gradually to see like if you have enough bread, how the consistency is looking. So just do it in 2 steps like this. Now we have our tomato mixture ready, and you can see it's like a deep pink. And now it's time to add our bread. So I'm using white bread here. It's usually a good idea to use white bread or like baguette kind of bread, not like with a thick crust, just like very plain bread. Because if you add like whole grain or anything like that, it's just not gonna work. It's just gonna interfere with every other taste, like from the tomatoes, from the garlic, from the olive oil that's coming later, and it's gonna be too much. So just trust me here, just use plain white bread. It doesn't have to be fully white, but you know what I mean, like light color like this one. And then you blend this up. I just start low because there are big chunks of bread until the blender just mixes it, and then I work my way up until it's very smooth. And there you go. This is like, I think, this looks like good texture. The color is a bit off because I haven't added the olive oil yet, but this is the texture that you want. Some people like it a bit thicker, so just add more bread. But be careful, because if you add too much bread, the mix will be so thick that your blender might not even take those chunks of bread. And I mean, unless you have a Vitamix, and then you can always use a tamper. Then I'm adding half a measuring cup. I don't really know how much this is. I kind of always eyeball it. Like I just add just a little bit of olive oil, just like, just like Jamie Oliver when he says just like a little bit of olive oil. Well, this is kind of it. A little bit of olive oil. I mean, a little bit more wouldn't hurt, but if you add too much olive oil and you have to use extra virgin olive oil here for sure, because this recipe is so simple that every single ingredient has to be good. Otherwise, because you will always, the difference is in the in the small things, right? And in the quality of the ingredients. So the texture, the quality of the ingredients has to be top notch. That's what guarantees a good salmorejo. So here, don't be careful, don't use too much olive oil, because good olive oil can get a little bit bitter, and it can ruin your salmorejo. This one is amazing. To die for. It's so good. So creamy. Yeah, now I will put this in the fridge, and then when it cools down, it's ready to be eaten. Why are you doing that?